Hello, everyone. This is Wrestling Fan Talk here. So, as we all know, I think at this point, WWE is moving to Netflix in January of 2025 over the course of 10 years for what is reported to be a $5 billion deal. Now, Triple H talked about this on the Pat McAfee show. Triple H, otherwise known as his real life name, Paul Levesque, he talked about this on the Pat McAfee show, and one of the things he mentioned was that there would be far less censorship. When they're on Fox or USA, and you get the crowd chanting cuss words like "F you, Roman," or "This is BS" or something, anything like that, it has to be censored because it's on either cable television or broadcast network television. And Fox is a huge network. It's one of the big four, I believe. And USA is still a top level cable network. So there's going to be censorship. There's always going to be a lot more rules with that. But going to Netflix, as Triple H said, there's going to be less of rules. So what does that mean moving forward? Is there going to be more potential for nudity? More potential for cuss words? More potential for greater acts of violence, or at least perceived greater acts of violence. I don't think you're going to see someone get their head bashed in with a chair 10 to 12 times, a la Mankind at Royal Rumble 1999, but it could be implied that it happened. Look at Tama Tonga's debut, the SmackDown after not his debut, 2 SmackDowns after WrestleMania, when it was implied that he hit Kevin Owens' rental car with his car, and Kevin Owens came out, and the screen went black and white, and his side of his head was all bloody. You can definitely have implied violence like that, more of it on Netflix, with less censorship. The question is, what does that mean about sponsors? How will, the beer companies, the automotive companies, the candy companies, the Stacker 2s, all the companies that you see get sponsored in wrestling, how would they feel about that? And quite frankly, how much will it really matter going forward? I imagine you'll still get plenty of sponsorships. WWE is huge. It's arguably as huge as it's ever been. It's a money-making machine. It prints money more than arguably anything we can imagine. It is a money-making monster. So will loss of sponsors ultimately matter? I think that would matter, but I don't think you'll see as many sponsors lost as what we would think. Because let's face it, as I said, the product is huge. It's going to continue to print money. And if you've got $5 billion coming in over 10 years, you're not quite as worried about sponsorship deals. Not to say you're not worried about it, but that $5 billion is a huge safety net. We can all agree on that. And it's going to be interesting to see, with Raw moving to Netflix, what happens to SmackDown. Will SmackDown also go to Netflix? What's going to happen with the WWE Network that's currently on Peacock right now? Will that stay on Peacock? Will that go to Netflix also? A lot of things are up in the air right now. I think we do have to be careful, though. I think too much nudity could potentially affect viewership, because if you start seeing people naked on your pro wrestling, I don't think you could really go that far. It's not ECW in the 90s. This is 2024 going into 2025 WWE. So I do expect, we should all expect more adult storytelling. I would make a strong argument that the PG era is in fact over. The PG era was born late 2000s, 2008, I believe, and it only got more PG as time went on. And it's been that way, but you can see the strings slowly being loosened. You can see things changing. You can see elements of that Attitude Era coming into fruition. Just look at the Liv Morgan, Dominic Mysterio storyline, how Liv is just being risque. Look at the Tama Tonga, Kevin Owens segment where Kevin Owens was bloodied. Look at the Drew McIntyre CM Punk stuff that's been going on. That is definitely loosening strings. That is definitely adding a little bit more element of violence. You look at the Drew McIntyre beatdown of CM Punk on SmackDown. You didn't actually see it, but it was implied to be brutal. CM Punk got smacked up against that garage wall multiple times, and Drew McIntyre carried him out bloody. We didn't see the violence, but it was implied. I think you'll see more of that on Netflix. It's going to be a fascinating thing to see moving forward. Wrestling Fan Talk out.